everybody, and welcome to the Bold Black Girls podcast. I'm Aries.
And I am Kim.
And welcome to episode, I think
7.
This is going to be 8, girl.
Oh my gosh.
Because we did 2 episodes for last week.
Okay.
We had a bonus episode, so.
I didn't realize we counted it as a number. I need to update my
sure
records.
did.
All right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that bonus episode.
Get your facts straight.
Okay. So let's jump into it.
Let's.
It is now almost the end of August.
It is the end of August.
School is back in session for you.
I know. You don't even have to deal with this stuff no more.
Well, I'm still dealing with it. So Kiara's in college, so I'm still helping out, but I don't have to go school supply shopping. I just say, how much is it? I'll see what I can do.
Well, because she has a job now.
She does.
Oh,
I won't say where.
Well, I used to work at the same place that she works.
Right.
Doing the same job back in the day, so.
I'll say she is at a bank.
Yep.
You
don't want people going up in there trying to find her.
Right.
This is not the kind of place you can get the hookup at.
Please don't.
Do not be talking about
I do like
what's the procedure when someone has a gun to your head. Remember, I'll set it off.
That is true. That's true. What I do enjoy that she's at a bank is it requires her to dress professional.
Yes.
And it's a uniform, so she really doesn't have to go and purchase.
They have a uniform? Oh, a special like button-up shirt?
She ordered a jumper. I was like, look at you. She came in with her dress, and I was like, you look like me.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I didn't know they had that.
I'll take a picture. So they have blouses, shirts. Only thing she really has to purchase is our pants. And or skirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. We
I
didn't
do too.
have that back in the day, so
really?
That's good.
Yep.
They like, look, we're going to make sure y'all wearing the stuff that...
And I mean, it has the emblem of the bank.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yep. So different season, just still doing the same thing.
Yeah, I actually have it easy because I have boys.
Yes.
And they're not into... I do find that when you're in the demographic area that we're in, they don't trip on clothes. So it's not like, oh, I got to get the latest Jordans and all that. Like, there's no pressure for them to buy the most expensive stuff and be stunting and dripping, you know?
Dripping.
So I'm fine with that. I'm like, they don't need to worry about that right now. So all I buy is like t-shirts and shorts because we are in Texas and it's hot. So they don't want to wear. LJ hates jeans. If he has to wear jeans, he's like, it's like torture. It's like wearing a suit to him.
I'm not a fan of them. I will wear them, but I'm with LJ.
He was like, what are we wearing first day? He's like, I don't want to wear no suit, Mom. I was like, I'm not going to have you wear no suit.
A suit.
So, yeah. No, my mom used to make me wear ugly stuff to school sometimes on the first day. But I said, I'm not going to do them like that. So, I didn't have to do that. We got a couple pair of shoes, some shorts and shirts, and they're done. Like, they don't even care.
And that's good because you shouldn't be going to school worried about who has the latest thing on because you're there to learn, right?
Exactly.
And I used to wear uniforms, K through 8th. So when I got to high school, we didn't have to wear uniforms. I was like, oh, this is a big deal. But it was a fashion show.
Yeah, my school was known for, like, our fashion.
Okay.
So back in those days, the Gap was, like, the thing, right? So those, what do they call them, anorak? I think the windbreaker.
Yes, the windbreaker.
The different colors.
It's coming back.
We had every color. I mean, it was girls that were like stealing. They would go to the mall and steal to get those things when they didn't have it. That's the pressure, that some people felt because if they didn't have the money, you're like, I'm going to steal it. Because you get them in those they come in a little ball. You can get all the colors. They would be like folded up in a little bag.
So this wasn't like a brand name. It was just...
It was Gap.
Really?
Yeah, it was like hot pink. I had purple, just all different colors of like anything you could think of they had. So that was like fashionable. We were like the preppy school.
Okay.
So they wore the hats that were kind of, the baseball caps that are kind of rounded, on the edges. Button up, plaid shirts. Guys wore khakis. That was in. Guess was in back then.
Guess, Pelly Pelly.
I never did the Pelly Pelly, yeah.
That was something big in Chicago. We weren't preppy. It was urban.
Okay, we were preppy.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, me and one of my best friends, Nadira, we tried to cut school one day and go to this other school that was more urban. And they knew we didn't go there.
I was gonna say, to do what exactly?
We was just
to walk in the school.
No, we were like on campus, just
outside of the school.
Yeah, like in the little,
common area.
Exactly.
Okay, I was gonna say, you could walk into someone else's school.
We did, and they were like, "Get up out of here, y'all!" They like immediate. We were like, we go here." Try to act like we could. They were not.
So we had IDs back then. So
I don't think we had IDs.
Yeah, we had IDs. And we had to go through metal detectors.
Well, because after, I think my freshman year is when we couldn't go off campus to do lunch anymore. Okay. Because actually that school that we were at and another one, like there were shootings off campus near the schools where some kids had got shot, like when they were off campus for lunch. So they started bringing all the things on campus. So we had Subway, we had Taco Bell.
Inside the school?
Uh-huh.
So like Allen?
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So we didn't like it because we used to walk to Subway, to get our lunch and then come back and go to 7-Eleven and all that. And then we could not go off campus anymore. So
I guess Chicago didn't care. They still didn't change the policy. We still had off-campus lunch. Go to lunch at your own risk. We hope you make it back.
But I also went to school out of district. So like where I lived, the school I was supposed to go to was one of the schools that had the shootings. So I was catching 3 buses to get to the school that I went to. So my mom, she used to work for the school district. And she worked for the superintendent of the school district. So, of course, she used her influence and got me to go to all...
Put you on. She put
me on. She put me on. So middle school and high school, I was out of district.
Wow. Yeah, I never went to the neighborhood school ever. So I really didn't socialize with the kids in my neighborhood. I really didn't know them because I did not go to school with them.
Ooh, they thought you were bougie.
They did.
They were like, she thinks she's better than us.
Yeah, I was bussed out. Either I was bussed out or my dad would take me to school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, my kids, our school is right across the street from my house. So they literally walk out the front door and they're at school as soon as they walk across the street. Them. Yeah, I don't even watch them no more. I watch them make sure they cross the street.
Okay.
And then once they're across the street, they're at school, basically. Like, literally the backyard, the schoolyard is right there. So sometimes they hop the fence because they don't want to walk around.
Oh, wow.
But that's one of the reasons I'm planning to not move anytime soon.
I do not blame you. That matters because I know in Chicago, you would need to walk them in the school to make sure that they arrived.
I've never been.
My mama
ain't never walked me to school, ain't never drove me to school, ain't never nothing.
You're saying that.
At all.
And my mother didn't drive me or take me because she was a teacher, so she couldn't. So that's why my dad took me.
I ain't never had that. So
I've taken Kiara to school.
Yeah, you sure did, because when she was going to St. Philip's. Ooh, jeez. And that's another thing, we were in that program this summer where I had to take them down to Dallas to Paul Quinn College for this summer program. Did I talk about that?
You did.
I don't remember. But that drive was, I was like, ooh.
I told you, I still have knee pains from that.
Look, my legs stiff and all kind of stuff. I'm like, nah, we're not doing that no more.
That was a good experience, though.
It was.
They needed that.
They definitely did.
All right, so now you're back to your routine of, back to school, get in bed by a certain time, have to have dinner, activities.
Yeah, we're trying to get it back in order. We just signed up for tutoring.
Okay.
So we're going to have someone come to our house every week to work with LJ. So.
Awesome. So now you have to fit in networking events, and you seem to do that very well this week. I think you had a couple of events.
I had...
Was it 3?
Did
you do the back to school? Was that this week or last week?
That was on Monday. That was on Tuesday.
See?
But I brought the boys with me.
Okay.
So they did their homework in the back while I was doing the panel. And then Thursday was the Black Women's Equal Pay Day and book launch for Jacqueline's book, Don't Leave Money on the Table. And she was ranked, she already at the #1 in her category on Amazon.
Shout out to Jacqueline.
Hey. I was like, I'm done for the whole weekend.
Yes. Oh, and I was done.
I was done. So
that takes energy, and it took a lot out of me.
Networking it can be draining if you do a lot, it's all that talking. And
I think I fell asleep testing too at my desk.
I fell asleep. So, what night was that when I was editing? I told you I fell asleep. Was that Friday night?
Friday night?
Friday night. Did not go out. I was tired. Like that dynamic women of color thing was on Friday. And I came home. I started editing the podcast. And I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning with the laptop on my legs, sitting up, lights still on. I mean, I was like, why is my neck hurting? Because I had just fell out. I was like, this is ridiculous.
So I did too. So I woke up that morning. I got ready to go to dance. So Kiara heard me leaving. So she runs to the garage and she's shaking her head. And I'm like, what? She had a video of me passed out with the phone in my hand. And she said I was listening to trap music. But I don't even remember putting on music.
Kiara is good for videoing somebody.
Oh, she's real good.
When you don't know you can video. Oh, Lord.
Yes. So, let's talk about, I really enjoyed the Black Women's Equal Pay Day.
You
moderated that. You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
I think we had a great turnout for the first event.
Yes.
It was a great topic. I felt like a lot of the women, I did poll them. They really enjoyed it. They felt that the intimate the intimate setting was wonderful, and they're looking forward to future events.
I know. We have an event coming up.
Yes.
We are doing our first live podcast recording, and I'm very excited that the person we're going to be having the conversation with, like, everything just worked out so
really did
perfectly. So Minda Hearts, I was following her on LinkedIn, I think, when I first even found her some months earlier this year when I was doing that intersectionality thing, that panel. And was it this year? I feel like it might have even been a little bit of last year. I don't know.
It might have been late last year. Did we find her podcast first?
I found her on LinkedIn first.
I found her podcast.
And you found the podcast, and then I think it kind of started connecting. But following her on Twitter and finally, I was just like, we need to do an event after the panel. And everybody was like, we need to talk more about what's going on with Black women in the workplace. Like, let's do this. And I was like, okay, we need to put another event together. Let's figure it out. And then she started really talking about her book that was coming out, The Memo, What Women of Color Need to Know to Secure Their Seat at the Table.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, I need to find out when she's going to be in Texas. That would be a good event. And so reached out to her on Twitter and was like, when you coming to Texas? And she was like, I'll be in Houston September 17th, 18th or something like that. And I'm like, well, mosey on up here.
to
Dallas. And so we locked it down. And the book has been...
I have the book.
Amazing. So all the feedback from Black women all across America, basically, that it is our book. This is our story. Wait, let's see. For our YouTubers.
Yes.
There you go. But that book had me in tears. And so I was like, I'm so glad that we already got her locked down, because in a minute, you're not going to be able to get her, because
I know
she's going to be all over the place.
Was it MSNBC?
MSNBC, the Morning Joe.
Yes.
And everything else. She's going to be all over the place, you will see. So we get to have her with us, and we get to talk about all this stuff. Very courageous conversation. So for those who are not women of color who are watching or listening to our podcast, you want to come to that event if you want to. Because, you know, we get people who are always saying, what can we do to...
Yes, how can I be an ally? How can I support?
Right.
This is one of the ways you can come to learn how to be an ally and to support the cause.
And just to be in the room. And it'll be cool. We're not gonna go too crazy. But we're going to dig in. We're going to talk about all these things. So I'm excited about that.
And during what I enjoyed about the event, it was interactive.
Yes.
So
I wanted it like that on purpose.
And it turned out really great.
Yeah.
We got great questions from the audience. One young lady, Gigi.
Yes. I had asked, why do we feel like we're afraid to negotiate as Black women? Remember, that was the question. So I was asking people in the audience kind of like, why do you feel like there's a fear?
Right. And you also asked, what was the last thing that you negotiated?
Yeah.
Which I thought was a very good question. Because
some people just don't. And they don't realize that we're actually negotiating every day with our family. LJ was negotiating with me this morning. And so she said something that really I had never even thought about before. And she was like, you know, as Black people, we are kind of taught not to negotiate because of how we're raised. Like, most of us, if your parents, you know, you try to go back, let's say your mom says, I'm going to give you, you know, 3 pieces of candy, and you're like, can I have 5? She'd be like, okay, well, you ain't getting none because you're being greedy, you know?
And so, Black Mama.
Exactly. So it's like, you know that we're taught kind of like you do is we're told, you don't question it, you don't really...
Just accept what is given to you and that's
and
it.
Be grateful.
Yep.
Because you don't have to get that. So I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense to where we would feel like, because that's the feeling I had, I think the first time I tried to negotiate was, they're going to say no, and then they're going to take back the offer. Right. You know, like, and I was just nervous.
In a fear mindset.
Yes. So I was thinking like, I'm hoping that they don't say no, but it made me, I had all the anxiety like that first time. And of course, they're not going to just say no. You know, that's the whole point of negotiating. It's not a negotiation until someone says no. Yep. Or until you don't agree, you know, on something. So now we need to find common ground in order to build on, right?
Yes, and that made me think back to like, ooh, did I do that with Kiara? Like, did I not allow her to negotiate? Because then she will walk around and, you know, just going in life of not negotiating things.
Yeah.
Because of that fear.
And what did you come up with?
I came up with that I negotiate on a regular basis.
But did you do that with her?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I think I had a balance. And I remember myself, one of the things as a Black mama, I would say to her is, this is not a negotiation. I would tell her that.
Just so we're clear.
So now I need to go back and apologize. Like, remember everything I told you is not a negotiation?
Forget everything I said.
Forget it. You can negotiate.
And that's big to apologize to your kids. I think that's another thing that we don't really get that often.
I do it.
And it really goes back, I think, just to the history of kind of our culture. And it's probably a lot deeper than we could even get all the way into. But, you know, Black women, we're known to be like the strong Black woman. Yes. And we're heading the household and we're taking care of the family. And we're doing a lot of things where I don't got time to be explaining a whole bunch of stuff to you right now.
Just do what I tell you and that's it.
And don't ask me nothing else.
Yep.
Because, you know, we also are trying to prove, like, teach you how to be grateful. Yes. And it's so many things that the lessons that we're trying to teach at once. Sometimes, you know, maybe it gets a little confused in the mix.
And like you said, everything really goes back to the past. Like, eat all the food off your table.
It's kids plate. In Africa that ain't got nothing to eat.
So my method now is, you don't have to eat everything. That's fine. But guess what we will do? We will wrap this up for later.
And you're going to eat it later.
Exactly. So
don't ask for nothing else.
Which is saying don't negotiate. Don't ask for anything else till that is done. So I stopped operating that mentality because I felt like that created obesity and forcing people to eat the food they may not be hungry.
My mom, I was a very picky eater. And so I didn't hardly eat anything. They called me needle booty. That was my nickname because I was skinny. And I didn't eat. I was just eating. If it wasn't like hamburger, hot dog, pizza, you know, stuff like that. I'm talking about kids are going to only eat what you put in front of them.
Right.
But if it was just something that didn't look good, smell good, I'm like, I'm good.
You didn't want it?
I don't want it. So my mom would cook whatever she was cooking. And if I didn't want it, you know, there were times where she would say, you're not leaving that table until you finish eating this food. And I would just make my bed on the table. Because I'm like, well, ain't nobody eating this. So, but then there are times where my pediatrician at the time, she was coming in like, she's so skinny. Like, he's like, she'll get the nutrients she needs. You don't need to force her. And she stopped forcing me, you know, trying to force me to eat. So that helped. And I eventually started liking stuff.
Awesome. So
now look at me.
I wish I could not eat. So that brings us to, I would say, it will take us into our episode of #Black Mama. I want to say I termed that before it was even a social media term.
Yeah, I think we've been talking that. I mean, that's been kind of a thing.
Right.
Everybody know about the Black Mama.
Right.
But, you know, with the bringing it on social media, the hashtags kind of came up. So
I want to say I have a video of you and Mona. We were at an event and you all had your children, and I don't know if they had gotten into something or they had done something, and I just was recording because I'm good for that sometimes too. And so you all were just getting on them and turning and flipping them around, And so I was like,
I need to see this video.
Look at those two hashtag black mamas. And you all were just fussing to your cars with your kids.
I think we're at a dance event where they were in some room by themselves just acting a doggone fool. So, yeah. I think I kind of remember that. But I want to see this video.
I'm going to share it with both of you all so you can... I think it was like 4 years ago because they were little.
Yeah.
They were little. So, black mama.
Yeah.
Let's get into this.
She is I. I am she.
So let's just first start off with describe how you became a mother. Was it planned? Was it unplanned?
Yeah, it was definitely planned. I was married. I didn't know it was going to happen as quickly as it did because we had got married in October and I just wasn't using birth control. You know, I was like, okay, we're cool. Now we're going to it's probably going to take about 6 months or so, you know, thinking everything was going to just kind of clear out the system. Okay. But apparently Thanksgiving is a good time for me. So I stay clear of everybody around.
Oh, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
All that good stuff in turkey.
I can't. So I didn't even believe I was pregnant when I actually became pregnant. So we were supposed to, so me and my husband and his sister and my nephew was living with us at the time. And my stomach was hurting. Like I had some really, really bad cramps. And to the point where we were supposed to drive to New Orleans. We were going to Slidell, Louisiana to have Thanksgiving with his family. And I was just like, I can't be in no car. Like with these. Yeah, I'm like, I'm hurting. So I stayed back, but his sister had went to the store for me. Like she was in medical school at the time, so she was going to diagnose everybody and stuff. And so she called me from the pharmacy and was like, hey, I'm gonna bring you some stuff. Could you be pregnant? And I was like, girl, no. Like,
and you probably said it like that with those acronyms?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, girl, no. So she brings the stuff back and she's like, maybe you want to just check anyways, just in case. And it wasn't until like probably 3 weeks later that I actually was like, let me go check. And that was the weirdest feeling ever when you see a test say positive. I was like, oh my God, like that's crazy. So he got home from work and I showed him the thing. He was excited. Like we were happy, about it and everything. And LJ was like the easiest pregnancy ever.
Wow.
I ate everything. Hot fries, pickles, and Fred's cheesecake, cheesesteak. Oh yes, chicken. The chicken Philly with the lettuce and tomatoes.
Yes.
Every day. It was bad because I would call in and they'd be like, I'm like, the usual. They knew me. I gained like 50 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was a good happy 50 pounds too because I was very excited about it. So yeah.
And you went through that twice.
And I went through it twice. Marvin was not so easy.
He wasn't?
Yeah. Again, Thanksgiving. Because their birthdays are 3 days apart. Wow. They're 2 years apart, but 3 days apart. So definitely planned it. I wanted LJ to have a brother. He's very needy. So I was like, he need a friend because I cannot be entertaining him. So definitely did that. So yep, both of them were planned.
Well, our stories are very different. Whereas yours was planned, mine was absolutely unplanned. I was in denial. I pretended like I didn't even know.
Oh my God.
It was horrible.
And you were how old?
I was 16 and a half because I had her when I was 17. So it was the end of junior year. No, maybe the beginning of, maybe it was mid-junior because I had her senior year right before I graduated. 6 months before I graduated, I had her. That whole story, like I didn't even tell my mom. I was afraid.
When did you tell your mom?
Oh, I don't know if I want to disclose.
Was it after you are, were you
It was
far along?
Yeah, I was far along.
Like what?
I was,
like
it was.
Come on, we're going to tell
like,
being transparent. We're being vulnerable.
It was like 7. She came 2 months later. And I didn't look pregnant. It wasn't that I wasn't gaining weight. And I wasn't big. I thought I was big at the time, but I wasn't. And I had her Christmas Eve.
Wow.
Had her Christmas Eve. And I didn't tell people at school. I walked around
You had a full-on child inside your stomach and nobody knew.
And nobody knew.
Wow.
I mean, I'm sure people suspected. Some people suspected, like, it's getting pregnant. And so I had her around Christmas break.
So then you were able to get back to school.
I went back to school.
Wow.
You know,
the resilience when you're young, though.
I mean, because I would have my life.
Look, I would have not. I mean, just thinking about.
And I didn't have any epidural or anything because I kind of waited to the last minute. I thought I was. I didn't know that I was going through labor.
Ooh.
I thought I was constipated.
Girl, I had gone what kind of constipation was that? Because that ain't how mine was feeling.
So by the time I got to the hospital, they was like, "Oh, prep her." I was like, "Well, I need to go to the restroom first. My bag broke." And it was like, "Oh, put her on the table. Nope. She's coming."
No.
So I didn't have an IV. They didn't have time to do anything.
All natural. You all natural black woman.
And strong.
Come on, somebody.
Flexible too.
I tried that.
So
I tried to be natural.
I think when you have children younger too, your snapback is quicker too. So 2 weeks was my break, and I went back because I didn't tell anybody. I'll tell you why. I didn't want to go to the high school where they were sending pregnant girls.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to go to that high school. And I would ride the bus, and the bus that I rode would go right past that school.
You were like, no, I can't see that.
I was like, I can't do that.
Well, you know, I think it's awesome when I see a teen mom that was able to still, like, keep it going, because it can stop you. I mean, just imagine how many people just, like, drop out of school or whatever. So the fact that you were able to, like...
And I finished school. She was.
What did your mother say when she found out?
She was disappointed.
Yeah.
She was disappointed. One, she's a teacher. She's from the South. So, just culturally, she was disappointed. But my parents are older. So, in a sense, it was like she was a blessing, because if I had waited... my dad probably would have never met his granddaughter.
Oh my God, that is so true.
Because he was older, and so even like...
And they were close.
Yeah. They are, yes. She still talks about him. We were at breakfast today, and she was talking about him. We were eating dinner, and she was like, eating breakfast. She was like, "You think he would like this place?" I'm like, "Yeah, he would."
See, that's so good. Yes, everything happens for a reason. It
really does.
One thing that I heard, William Murphy, the singer who sings Praises What I Do.
Yes.
You got to check out I think it's on his one of his first live albums, but he talked about the same situation, basically. Okay. And he's like, you are not a mistake. You know, like, God does not, the devil can't bring life.
Right.
And the fact that the life was created lets you know that there is a purpose for your life, you know?
I believe that too.
So that's another thing to kind of,
you know. So our experiences were totally, completely different.
But
she's a blessing, and I love her. And I only had one, so I learned my lesson. And so after that, I was like, I will never have kids again unless I'm married. And so that didn't happen. So,
hey, as long as you held on to because that's my thing. I didn't want to have
myself.
I didn't want to have kids by more than one person.
Yes.
So when I got pregnant with Marvin, me and their dad had just started going to counseling. I didn't know that I didn't know again that I was pregnant. Like, I knew I wanted to have another kid, but like, the month that I found out that we were pregnant, we were going to counseling with my pastor.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, Lord,
what are you doing?
You know, but I was thinking that the counseling was really going to help our relationship, so I wasn't necessarily feeling like I'm about to be a single mom, but that didn't actually happen. So
that's probably another episode. The single mom episode. We're still stuck on the black mamas.
Yes.
All right, so the age range, they're elementary school.
They are. We are 3rd and 5th grade.
Okay.
5th grade gets a little bit more real, which is why the tutoring, and we're using It's Not Complicated Tutoring.
Shout out to Jay.
Black owned.
Yes.
And I wanted to have a black person teaching my child because they go to an all-white school with all-white teachers. There's like no black faculty, no black staff, nothing. The one black person they had, she's not there anymore. They moved to Mansfield because her husband's job. So she was a nurse. Wow. And that was my girl. That was the one I could text and be like, so, she'd be like, yeah, I saw the kids. You know, like she can report back. But now we don't have that, so.
And I think that's very important. I grew up, I would say, and I tell all my old friends that I went to school with, before there was HBCU colleges, we were going to the HBCU elementary school. All of the teachers were African American pretty much. I mean, we did have diversity, but predominantly we were in a 99.5% all black populated school.
I don't even know what that feels like.
Yeah, so when I moved here with Kiara, and so she did attend school up until about 2nd grade in Illinois. So when we moved here to Texas, it was a culture shock for both of us. And so then she became one of only.
Wow.
And so I really didn't know how to help her because she experienced some challenges at that school. And so going back to your point, you can't be what you don't see. Yep. So it's important that diversity and inclusion doesn't just start at corporate America. It really needs to start in the school.
So true. Because that's the part where, you know, just think about it. My kids are growing up with the people who are teaching them everything are white.
Yes.
So in their minds, they are being conditioned to look up to these people.
And to think that they know it all.
Exactly. And so their school is diverse. They have diversity as far as the kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But not the staff, which is why Paul Quinn was so big for me. I'm like, no, they're educated people. Like, get over here. You got the president of the college teaching you leadership. Sorrell. You know what I mean? Yes. Yeah. So I'm like, I want you to see that there are powerful Black people that know stuff, that are teaching, that are, you know, you can learn from. So that's something that I'm being very intentional about.
And you have to be. And, you know, my mother was a teacher. I've had great teachers that were Black and non-Black. So, but I think it's very important that they should. And it's sad that they need to experience that. So when Kiara went to St. Philip's, it was probably one of the best experiences ever because she was greeted with love. Mm-hmm. And because when you're learning, you need to know that teacher loves you. And so she did well because they really did have a vested interest. So like in the morning, she would get out the car and the teacher would say, "Good morning, Miss Black and Lovely." And so she just loved it. And so we were at breakfast today. She was like, "I need to text Miss Wesson. I'm going to go visit her." So here she's
built relationships.
Yeah, she's like, "I want to go see my old teacher."
I remember in high school, only teacher I had that was Black was our dance teacher, Mrs. Burgess. I think I told y'all about the one who was my mom's teacher. That was the only one. And we let her be a Black mama to us, you know, in class. And she'd be like, "Sit your down."
Right. And, you know, just going back to that, I think behavioral-wise, they know who they can pull it with. Like, I had teachers who I knew I did not want to get in trouble with because she would give me the eye or she would pinch me or pop me with a ruler.
Exactly.
And they were not afraid to do that.
Nope. Well, see, we ain't doing all that. But because
Times
there's not
changed.
that. Yeah, I was going to say that's not. Yeah. They used to do that when my sister was in school. Because I remember something, I think it was some drama. Oh. One of the teachers had hit my sister or something. And my mama was the Black mama and went up there. But my mama was the type that would whip you at school. So it wasn't no child abuse. It wasn't called child abuse back then. You know how the schools do.
All right. So do you want to describe your children?
Sure.
Maybe 1 or 2 words, 1 or 3 words, if you could think about that describes.
LJ is just, he's a kind person. He's very in touch with emotions, and he's just sweet, and he wants to please, you know, his parents, the people he loves. He's like, "Am I doing a good job?" You know.
Do you think he's an extrovert or introvert?
He's an extrovert because he's very social. Like I can take him.
Where did you get that from?
It's so funny because when he was little, he was scared of everybody. Like I couldn't bring him nowhere, leave him nowhere. He would just cry with a stranger come around. Everybody be like, "What?" I'm like, "I don't know. Are you my child? Like, what is wrong with him?" And then after a while, when he started going into school and got comfortable, you know, then it's the type where he's gone. Like. He'll make friends with anybody. He'll just walk over to somebody like, "Hey, how are you?" You know, and make a friend. So he's like that. Marvin, he's the analytical one.
The professor.
Yes, he's the analytical one. He's the side of me that people be like, you know, the more direct side.
Yes.
That's him. He's like that. But he's also
the feisty, spunky one.
He is, but he's a helper. He loves to help. You know, he's like, "I can help you, Mom." Like, and some days it's funny because when he wants to get all lovey-dovey and on me, I let him because most of the time he's the type that's like by himself. He can do his own thing. He don't need like to be around a bunch of people. LJ needs. He likes the family aspect of things. Come on, guys, let's talk. Let's bond. You know, Marvin be like, he can be in the corner reading. Minding his business. That's how I was. Like, I'll just be reading somewhere, not tripping. So I'm looking at both sides of my personality kind of in separate bodies, you know?
Right. A piece of you.
Mm-hmm. What about Kiara?
I would say, so initially, Kiara's a copy-paste of me, in a sense. But not, I would say like minus 50. She's not as extra.
The watered down version.
The watered down little Kim.
But she got you in there.
She does, and I didn't realize it until I took her one day to take her wisdom teeth out. And
oh my God! Wait a minute. I remember that video. That's what she was like. I'm a bad bee.
Yes. So I worry about Kiara because, like LJ, Kiara's sweet. She's kind. She's a yes girl too, and I had to tell her you can't say yes to everything, and it's okay to tell people no, and she'll overload herself just so she could please. So in a sense, she's kind of like LJ. She doesn't want to offend or hurt anyone, and she just wants everybody to be happy. Mm-hmm. She loves her family. She loves kids. She loves to laugh and play a lot of jokes.
She plays a lot of jokes.
But she's smart and creative. So I was worried about her because I'm like, you're letting people take advantage of you. And I was like, no, you're going to have to stop this. So I took her to get her wisdom teeth taken out. She had the
medication, be making the kids get all woozy and the truth come out. It's like the
so
the
when that truth came out, I was like, oh, she is good. I don't have to worry about her. She is just gonna be just fine. She told them that she was a boxer and she boxes for a living. I said, why'd you tell those people? I'm a bad bee. I
said, ooh, and she was saying it too.
I said, okay.
I was like, that medication is a really real, because she just cussing. I loved it though.
It was good. So
I was cracking up. I'm like, okay,
in tears. In tears. I sent it to all my close friends.
Yes,
we were all in
great.
Tears.
I loved it.
That's how I would describe her. All right, so let's talk about this. What about your parenting style? What would you say is your parenting style? Because I'm not. My mother and father were from the old school. Like you said, do as I tell you, right? I talk to her. Don't ask questions. I let her ask why to a certain extent. I explain, because I think a lot of times...
In the moment?
It just depends, though, because I feel like sometimes we don't allow them to, hey, why? And they truly want to know why.
Yeah.
So it just really depends on the situation. But I parent very different than what my mother and father used to parent.
I definitely parent different, but I also have some of the same, some of those core values.
Absolutely.
Because I do feel like some of the millennial X, kind of generation, Zennial, they were so like, I'm not going to do what my parents did. They went the opposite, and their kids are jacked, because they didn't have the discipline piece. Because I think it's different than like putting your kid on punishment than disciplining them. Yeah. There is a call for discipline, at times. And so I have to discipline my kids differently. LJ is like me. He didn't want to get no whoopings. I didn't hardly get no whoopings. Don't hit me. I'm good. You yell at me, you might as well have hit me, because I was so sensitive that my mom would just yell and I would be in tears. It was just like getting beat.
Well, and what works for one child may not work for the other.
It don't, because yelling at Marvin don't do nothing. I had to do some different things with him. And actually, I had to actually start recognizing myself in my children and seeing where I could use what would have worked for me, right? Mm-hmm. So when I'm in that mode of like, I think I know everything, I have to talk to him like I would want to be talked to at that age, right? So some days I have a little bit more patience than others, and other days I just be having to check them,
Yeah. So at work we do creative solutioning. I believe in creative discipline.
I do too.
So like you said, I did take some of those values, as far as like I did whoop her sometimes, and I feel like if you get them early, you won't have to get them when they're older. I
haven't whooped my kids in probably 2 years.
Okay. I want to say...
Which is surprising with Marvin, because...
Kiara probably stopped getting whoopings about 9 or 10. And then I had to get creative because technology.
Yeah, that's true. But see, I don't know. I feel like you got to find what the thing is that they really, really like.
That's what I'm saying. It was technology.
Yeah, it's like if you can get whatever that is...
Take it.
Work it to your advantage. Yes. Because that's what helped me more with Marvin. Because whooping, I was like, I'm going to kill him. Like, I'm going to be in jail. And I remember buying a book about the strong-willed child. Like, just trying to get into the psyche of, like, where he's coming from. And I just learned that like there's other stuff that works way better because he does not like being isolated from the group. So like if me and LJ are doing something fun, I'll be like, nah, okay, well you go ahead in the room since you want to act like that. Bye, see you later. I just dismiss him. Like I will dismiss him quickly. As soon as he'll do something, you know, but I'm consistent. That's the key to me. It's like you gotta stay consistent because if you don't, it's
well,
not
and you
work.
know how your parents will say, I'm gonna get you when I get home.
Yeah.
You have to get them. You cannot forget.
But that's like torture. I feel like when you tell
that's
them
good.
in advance.
Some
like,
kids need torture. Okay. Yep.
But I've had teachers have to call me. You know, I'm like, call me on the phone. If he acts up like preschool and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I had to go up to the school, take him in the bathroom at school.
And send him back to class.
Yep.
You have to do what you have to do. For Kiara, she didn't like whoopings, so I used that to my advantage. And I told her, I said, I'm going to treat you like the police, so I will make her assume the position.
Ooh, look at that. This is the slave mentality.
I know, right? I feel bad.
When I want to whip them now, I'll be going, okay, don't take me back to the slavery days. So bad.
I need to go I'm just going to take her out to dinner and apologize for, you know, telling her not to negotiate. But so one of the things that I ended up having to do is I had to, so I don't want to put her business out there what she did, but she did something that was pretty bad. So I asked her to tell me the truth. And I said, I'm going to give you 2-3 days to tell me the truth while I investigate.
Oh, Lord.
So I asked her every day, like, do you want to admit to the crime? Right? And she was like, I didn't do it. I said, okay.
So you already knew. You had proof.
Yes.
Okay.
I had proof. And I wanted her to be honest. And we were working on honesty. Because I think I would rather for you to be honest than to lie to me, right? And so we were going to St. Philip's that day, right? So I was coming through the back roads of Texas to avoid traffic. And I stopped at Sprouts. And I said, a grocery store. I said, are you sure there's something you don't want to tell me? Oh, no. I said, okay. So I'm driving. I was like, I cannot believe her. She's like in 4th grade.
You just gonna lie in my face.
Yes, for 3 days.
Making yourself get more and more mad.
So I'm driving. I look to the right. I see a police station. I said, here's my opportunity. So I turned into the police station. And she's looking. She's like, where are we going? I said, oh, I'm getting ready to take you in here because you're going to take a lie detector test. And so she's like, what? I said, yes. They're going to administer a lie detector test. I said, and when the results come back that you have lied, I said, you will be persecuted to the fullest extent. So I said, come on, get out the car. So we're walking. I said, are you ready? So I saw her. She was just kidding. She was all shook up. She dropped her down to her knee. She said, I did it. So I didn't even have to get into the police station.
Oh, my God.
So you have to be creative with them. And really, from that day on, I haven't had any issues with her.
She was like, I am not trying to
Which is bad because I was like, I don't want to traumatize her where she doesn't want to call the police.
Well, we already traumatized, and I don't encourage. I know that is so bad, though, because I literally, nowadays, like, as I'm older and get more aware, I kind of be like,
it's like
you might not want to call the police.
We may be calling trauma to our children, so we have to be creative in what we do. Cause so I'm gonna take her out for an apology dinner. And
honestly, as we're maturing and learning more, this is something that you don't get a handbook on how to be a parent. You don't know. I don't know. We're going off of whatever our parents did with us, but it's our job to try to educate ourselves as much as possible so that we can make, do a little bit better.
Right.
And then maybe they'll do a little bit better, and then, your legacy will be.
That's true, but just
a lot better.
I think knowing your child is important, and that comes with spending time with them.
It does.
So,
time that is intentional.
So how do you do that now with technology competing?
We just incorporate it.
Okay.
Sometimes we incorporate, like, we have certain shows that's like our shows.
Okay.
We're
I called you the other day. He was like, I'm getting ready to watch TV with the kids.
Yeah, we have, like, I don't watch a lot of TV. We don't have cable. But thanks to Kim, I'm able to watch certain stuff. But we have, like, a couple of shows that are, like, our shows that we kind of Sunday best.
Yes.
And the next big thing is on BET. And so they like competition type of shows. And, like, with my mom, she likes the cooking shows.
Yeah.
It would be like the kids cooking competitions.
Yes.
And stuff. So they like that kind of stuff. Like where they're eliminating people down to the final.
And
you
so you kind of like guessing who's going to be
eliminated. Who you're voting for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of those type of interactive shows. And LJ, he doesn't play. Like, there's no phones. Everyone put your phones down. We're
good.
focusing, so he'll be like, no, we're going to focus. So
I love it.
We do stuff like that.
So Kiara and I do the same thing. I would say even before we had like Hulu and Netflix and all these streaming devices, when Kiara would go to dance every Saturday, we would come home and watch a Disney movie. And we would lay in bed. So even to this day, like Sundays after church, before we started recording for podcasts, we would lay in bed and watch our shows. Mm-hmm. And we would take a Sunday nap together.
That's awesome. That's good bonding there.
It really is.
And my kids would stay in my bed all the time if I let them. Like, they're like, ooh, I'm going to be in the middle. Nope, I'm in the middle. No, I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's nothing like mom's bed.
Mom's bed is better than, it's like warmer.
Mom's bed, mom's water tastes different.
Mama food.
Yes. Why is that?
Everything.
It's mental.
I think it definitely is.
So yeah, that's how we spend quality time. We go to breakfast. Brunch is our thing now. Nice. So we'll share one meal. We're good for Six Flags.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of interactive stuff where you are actively moving. She goes to dance class with you a lot of times.
Sometimes.
Well, now she's
she's
working
a woman
now.
Working little young lady.
But still,
I told her women pay their own bills.
See?
Woman to woman.
Right. Look, and I'm over here teaching them how to do manual labor. I'm like, I was cleaning up and this morning, just before you got here, and I had where we are now. If you notice, anybody who watches us on YouTube, our podcast audience, if you want to see us, we do have a YouTube page. But the background is a little bit different. But we moved into my spare bedroom, and I had to clear out the office, and it was just all kind of crap everywhere. Right. So I had the boys dumping everything in the trash, breaking boxes down, and they came back in. It was so funny. They were sweat beads.
You should have taken a picture.
What else, Mom? But they feel engaged in helping me.
Well, you're teaching them too, because I tell people all the time, and even like here with dating, how does he treat his mother? So they're anticipating your need. What else do you need? Yes. You shouldn't have to always say, come here, LJ, because I've taught Kiara, you need to ask me, how was my day?
Oh, I do that all the time.
Don't worry about it. You also need to say, is there anything that I can do for you? Like, she asks me that weekly.
I like it.
And I remember one day I was in the garage cleaning up. I didn't have to ask her. She just came out there. She said, I'll help you.
I like it.
Yeah, so we have to teach our children to be intentional, to anticipate our needs as well.
That's true. I know, like, when I would pick them up, even when they were little, when I would pick them up from school, and, of course, you always say, how was your day?
Yes.
And they're like, fine, da-da-da, they're just moving on. I'm like, well, my day was awesome. I just would volunteer, and then they'd be feeling like, oh, shoot, we should be asking you. I'm like, I know you don't care about my day, but, let me tell you what happened with me. And so now they do it more. They'll be like, how was your day, Mom?
Yeah, she'll call me at work. She says, how's your day going?
Aww.
Mm-hmm. And I even had to train her to stop asking me what's for dinner. Because that was just like, I'm like, please stop asking
And she's too old to be asking what's for dinner.
Well, no, this is when she was in high school. So, I mean, she kind of had
But still, no.
Yeah, so I was like, please stop. But you know what I started to do, and I think other parents could possibly do? Incorporate your children into the meal planning.
I agree, because that's actually how you get your kids to eat, especially with the younger kids. Like, I will get them to eat more vegetables and stuff that I want them to eat when they're actually helping me chop stuff up and seeing the food being prepared. They're more likely to eat it. You just put a plate of greens in front of them, they're not going to eat that.
That's true.
So, and don't get it twisted. I have my days. I think we have to start being more aware of where we are ourselves, mentally, physically, emotionally, because we can take that out on our kids. Because some days I'll be frustrated with the world. Somebody that says something crazy to me, and I come in the house and they don't have they got their stuff all over the floor and and everything just feels like it's a lot. And I'm like, y'all need to get your stuff up, get out of here. Oh, I'm the maid now. Y'all got me in here.
I'm Mabel.
Right. My grandma said, I ain't your Hazel. Because that's what all the black women who cleaned up people's houses. Mm-hmm. So I was like, so I'm the one supposed to clean everything up. You get into that mode. So it's like we got to catch ourselves and handle our emotional space. And that way you're not taking it out on the kids when it's...
Sometimes you might need to, like for me, I might stop off and go get a green tea. before I go home. If I know I've had a bad day, because one thing I don't like to do, I don't like to bring work home.
Yeah.
So any drama that I have, she doesn't deserve that. They don't. I mean, but there are times, and I will come in and say, "Hey, I had a rough day." Sometimes give the caveat, set the tone.
Oh yes.
Like, hey, it was a rough day. Just give me a minute. I need a 30-minute nap, something like that. So
yeah, I do that too.
I mean, she's older. I don't know.
I do it.
Okay.
And they know. They know when I'm ready to go get my bath. Do not bother me. Do you need anything else from me right now? Because don't come in here. This is my time. I don't feel like being bothered, or I need a nap. I did that yesterday because I was tired. I'm like, what else? Y'all have been fed. Your needs are met. You don't need nothing else. Let me know.
So, a question. Typical black mamas back in the day will call you to change the channel on the TV.
I do that.
Just because?
I don't feel like getting up. And they're already up, running around anyway. I'm like, come here. LJ, come get this puppy. Not all the time, but every now and then.
I do it. I try not to do it often.
But I tell them that's what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm being a real black woman right now. I need you to pick this up for me.
So I wonder, do they wonder, well, what is it like of a non-black mama?
But you know what? I share with them, like on social media, funny stuff about black mamas so that they can laugh and see, oh, it ain't just my mom.
Right. Like,
these are other people they know. These are like comedians and people like kind of making jokes about what black moms do so that they can see,
right.
I'm not crazy. Like, this is just kind of our cultural thing that we do.
Okay. So we've talked about discipline. We've talked about what type of parent we are. Do you have a memorable or profound moment you'd like to share?
Profound?
Mm-hmm. Something that just sticks out when you think of, I'm a mom.
When I first became a mom.
Okay.
Literally, so I had 28 hours of labor with LJ.
Wow.
And ended up still not being able to have him naturally. I ended up having a cesarean. So I'm in the hospital room. I'm literally I have tremors because they gave me this epidural that wasn't taking effect, like to numb your body up to do the, they did give you a spinal or whatever. And it wasn't working because when she first touched my stomach with the scalpel, I was like, I felt that. So they had to give me more. So when they started putting those drugs, like my body went into kind of a shock where I was like cold and shaking the whole time. So when LeBron came in, he was looking at me like, what the heck? What's going on? Like, he walks in, they got the little thing over. And so he's seeing everything. He can see the whole thing. He's like, I wish I never had looked over that thing. Because he was like, your guts were on the table. Like, it was he's like, they took everything out, put it back. And when I was like, oh my God. But when they brought him out and I heard him cry, I just bawled.
Aww.
I just bawled. And I have this beautiful picture of him, like, with his arms up to the sky, like he was saying, hallelujah. And I just remember looking at him. I couldn't even hold him at first because I was scared I was shaking that bad to where when I finally held him up, I got a picture of that too. I was just like, whoa, like, this is my kid. Like, I'm responsible for this dude, like, forever. Ain't no dropping him off nowhere. This is going to be interesting. So that moment, I mean, I feel like if I didn't have kids, I probably would be living a totally different life right now. I think they have really kind of grounded me.
I would say the same for me. Like, for Kiara, in a sense, we grew up together. I always wanted to make sure that she knew I'm not your friend. Mm-hmm. I'm not your sister. I am your mother. But in a sense, we did grow up together.
That's true.
And I would say my most memorable or profound moment is they had a mother-daughter tea before she went to the cotillion. And so they had to get up and give a speech to their mother.
Ooh.
And
now, did you know what she was going to...
I did not.
Okay.
I didn't cry, though. I'm so glad.
Do you even have feelings?
Well, I do. I think ever since I had my piece of my body part removed, those emotions aren't there anymore.
Interesting.
I know. They're there, but it takes so much more to get me worked up. And I also think that what I've kind of been through, not that it's like, oh, it's been a lot. I've cried a lot of tears, so I don't have a lot to give anymore as far as the tears. Yeah. So it takes a lot to get me worked up.
I'm like the opposite. I'm getting soft now.
Yeah,
I'm getting way more in touch.
So I used to cry a lot.
Yeah, I did
as
too.
a child, and so Sharon's like, "Why you always crying?" So I've trained myself not to cry as much.
Yeah.
So I would say when she gave that speech, I was like, "Wow!" It was just like she summarized her whole childhood.
Wow.
With me.
And you felt like she honored.
She did.
What you've done
and
for
one
her.
of the things she said, she was like, "You would always say I'm not your friend," and I was like, so she made it comical. She related it to how her mother is personality wise and the things that we've done.
I can't wait to see what my boys, what it ends up looking like when they become men. Yes. And they talk about
and reflect
this stuff. Because I'm like, oh my God, like, you don't know.
Yeah.
I always tell them, like, just make sure you're remembering when I do some, some like, something really good or whatever. I'm like, put this down on the speech that you're going to give that day.
Because you're a quality mom.
I try to be.
You are.
I do try.
So, I think we can wrap it up. Let's talk about maybe two more things.
Okay.
What has motherhood taught you?
Uh-huh.
And is there any advice that you would give to any other moms out there?
Yeah. Motherhood taught me selflessness.
Ooh, yes.
Because you just can't be selfish and do this job effectively.
I agree.
That's what love is, sacrifice. We talked about love in the last episode,
yes.
and that's really the definition is sacrifice. Yeah. And so there's days where they eat and I don't. There's days where, I'm like, I'll have to, not do this because we need to do that. Right. And it's helpful. Yeah, I think as just a human being to think of someone else other than yourself, especially being that I'm not in a relationship, it keeps me grounded, like I said, as far as having someone else to think about
and be responsible
more so than myself. And I think advice I would give is to, one of the things that I'm trying to really do that I hope this is what my sons get out of this whole thing is I'm very honest with my kids, even when I have those days when I go crazy and I'm just, and I come back and I'll be like, okay, so what happened was, let me tell you, I go back, like you said, explaining things, allowing them to ask questions. Like we talk when it's not a heated moment.
Correct.
And just about whatever they want. Like I let them know that they can be a person that your kids can come to no matter what. Like when they fear that what you're going to do is going to have these big grand consequences, they're going to probably go to somebody else or not, and I want to be your person. So for me, it's big that I tell them, I don't care if you think I'm going to get mad. Don't worry about all that because I'm the one helping you get out of the situation. If it's something that is bad, then let me worry about that. I want them to always feel like they have someone to go back to. So just like be their person and not, so overpowering. And I think sometimes as Black moms, we can be like that. We just be so like, it ain't gonna be none of that. But I'm like, yeah, I'm like that. But I'm also the mom that's like, we lay up in bed and just, we crack a whole bunch of jokes. We laugh at old videos. In tears. My kids are hilarious. Both of them are funny. They are so funny. That like I'm crying most of the time from laughter. So have fun, have balance. Yeah. Try to balance out. Yeah, they know I'm coming for them. When it's time, I'm coming for your dome. I'm going off. Right. But at the same time, we can laugh. We can go do fun things, and I try to have those conversations, with them. So.
And I think in a sense, our parenting style is similar. I would say motherhood has taught me selflessness as well, but also patience. Mm-hmm. Be patient. Like, her story is her story. She's going to go on that journey, whatever it is. I can't put it together, right? I can help you with whatever you need to do, but I have to be patient with her, and she's not going to move as fast as Kim. She's not going to do it like Kim. She's going to do it like Kiara. It'll get done, but it might get done in a different way. And I would say, like you said, any advice to other moms, make time for you, fill you up so that you can give to your kids.
That's a good one. That's actually one I really wanted to say too.
Because I feel like if you're bitter, you can't parent well.
Mm-mm. And you just need to, just like everything else, you need to give yourself first. Yep. Give to yourself first so that you can give to them. You can't if you're empty. If you're empty, like, I make time for me. I have friends. I go do stuff, my baths. I make time for my private, stuff. And I let them know I'm doing something for myself. Thank you. Yep. It ain't all about you. And they need to know that. I'm very clear. Like I said, the communication is very open where it's like,
same here.
If you don't pick that up off the floor, who's going to pick it up? Me? I'm not, why I got to pick up your stuff? Like, that's how I kind of, talk. Yep. But I'm like, I want my time just like you want your little video game time. I want my time to do me. So I think they respect that too, more. So
same. And Kiara knows I will come for her too. And she says that I am. She's like, ooh, if Kim comes for me, then when we become on first name basis.
When she's talking to other people about you.
Yeah.
She does say that.
That cracks me Kim. So, yeah, make time for you. Definitely be patient and give grace.
And, as women, even if you're not a mom, you're probably a mom to somebody. Correct. You're probably got nieces and nephews and stuff like that. And
because those aunties come in handy.
I was an auntie mommy for years. I was 30 years old before I had my kid, and my nephew was living with me when I was pregnant with LJ. So, we just have that kind of thing, where we are giving to others, but make sure you're giving to yourself. At the same time, you are a priority, and it's okay. You don't have to feel guilty for prioritizing yourself
at all
first.
Because I didn't do that initially for years.
Moms are you can get bullied. In the mom role. Oh, you not breastfeeding? Oh, you giving your kid formula? Oh, you not a stay-at-home mom? Oh, you work? Or whatever. It's like all these things. So you just gotta live your truth. Do it the way that works for you and your kids. Don't try to be competing with some other moms and all that. I don't care what you do, because I do things my way.
So, let's wrap it up, because I know we've gone over a little bit. What's the call to action? So, one,
like we already told them.
Yeah, truly learn and know your children.
Yes.
I would say, be present.
Be present.
And honest with them. Right?
And in an age-appropriate way. You don't have to feel like you got to tell them your life story.
Correct.
I think my LJ just found, he heard me saying something to somebody. He was like, you was married before? I was like, ooh. We didn't have that conversation.
Uh-oh.
But, anywho, we'll talk about that later.
Right.
So, yeah, it's like, yeah. But anyways, kind of moving past, but, because I was like, we ain't about to get into all that yet. But eventually, it will. So, you got to be honest in an age-appropriate manner.
Right. And I think one of the things you said at the end, intentionally spend time with your children.
Yeah.
Because Kiara and I lay in bed, she knows I love to laugh, so she'll bring these Instagram stories and I'm in the bed just dying, laughing, crying. Just that, and it doesn't have to require money.
That's true.
For quality time.
That's true.
We go on walks together. We will go to the park and play basketball. So it just be intentional about that.
Your mother, as a mother, you are the nurturer. You are the giver of life. You are the one that is really, doing a lot of the teaching, training of your children. So it's kind of our responsibility to make sure they're, whatever we've learned in this world at this point, we're trying to pour that into them first. Some people be trying to have mentees and stuff, and your kids don't even know about what's going on. And it's like, they need to know about what you do, what you're doing in your life, and kind of, pour that back into them so that they can make better choices than maybe we did and excel.
Right.
All right, folks. Well, you know what you need to do. If you made it this far, please go rate and review us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that has a rating system. If you're looking at us on YouTube, please subscribe and like our video. So we will check you all out next week. And please come out if you are in Dallas to our event on September 20th. All the information is at boldblackgirls.com, at boldblackgirls on Instagram, at boldblackgirls on Twitter. And that's all we can keep up with right now.
Right.
Because we got other stuff to do. We got work. We got jobs. So
thanks for listening. And you all have a bold week.
Peace out.